gate in time to prevent the floodwaters here in the annex. Where are you today in terms of your understanding of why that did not take place?
I know exactly what happened, and while it is frustrating, it is understandable. We had a written protocol for closing the floodgates, and they were coming out on an hourly basis and checking the water level. And when the water level gets to a certain point, they raise the floodgates. They came out on schedule, looked, water wasn't at the right level. The rain had stopped, and they made a decision they'd come back in an hour, just as they were supposed to. And within 15 minutes, the water just surged up and in. As soon as the water started coming in, they realized the situation and raised the floodgates. They actually, the same process to raise the floodgates on our Tranquility Garage and into the tunnel system, which they did. The new protocol is going to be, if it gets any, don't wait. Basically, if it gets, we're going to lower it wasn't modeled to rise that fast. And since the water had stopped, the rain had stopped, and they all thought, okay, we're fine. We've now changed the protocols. The City of Houston will be reimbursed by Houston First Corporation, which manages the garage. So the city will be made whole, but we don't, obviously we don't want that situation to happen again. Once the water drained out, other than the vehicles that were stored there, unlike Tropical Storm Allison, where we had to do a complete rebuild of the garage, which was my initial concern, I pretty much mucked it out, and it's going to be fine. We had some minor elevator repairs, but the vehicle loss, all of which will be covered. But that's what happened.
But you had some other things damaged as well, not just the vehicles, correct? Because the print shop and the
all of that will be. We will all be. The city will be made whole, so that the local taxpayers will not have to bear the burden of that. But a little bit of water. But the big expense is the vehicles, and that's what we were worried about. There are also some, to go down into the weeds, there was some trailers and equipment owned by Special Events, Department of Special Events. They store that stuff down there. The protocols for operating the garage went in after Ike, when the floodgates were raised. And I can't fire somebody for following exactly what his instructions were. We closed the gates when the water gets to this level. They were going out on the specified schedule, and the water rate came up faster than anybody anticipated.
last question. We understand that there was some testing of the floodgate the week prior to the flood. And there were concerns at that time raised that none of the security personnel had keys or were able to close or open those keys.
The person with the authority and the keys, whatever they, I don't know exactly what they used, it was on site. So that was not it wasn't a matter of nobody was there. They were checking appropriately. I have a full written report, which I'm sure somebody will ask to see, and it's still in draft form, but we'll make it available to anybody who wants to look at it.
So it's just one person who has the ability to?
No, there is somebody assigned. It's not like one person, but there was one. It only needs one person. There was one person assigned that night with the authority to do it. It doesn't need. I mean.
And it's Houston First.
It is Houston First, not
city security.
Not city security guards. So if you've been talking to city security guards, you're talking to the wrong folks. Houston First manages that garage, and they have. I at first did not know whether it was our General Services Department that would make that decision, or whether it was Houston First. The evidence is that they actually had somebody on site checking, but obviously not frequently enough. And it's good to know now, since there doesn't appear to be any structural damage into the garage. Anything to add to that?
Just basic flood information.
Frustrating though, very frustrating.
The two mobile FEMA locations and the one permanent location, what do we know, if anything, about where those are at now, or how people could find them when they are deployed?
We will push that out as soon as we get, we are working with FEMA, but it is FEMA's decision to do that. They're looking for public places with large parking, closed shopping malls, that sort of thing. I think it's what we used after Ike. We'll try to, they'll have 2 mobile, one southwest, probably Braeswood, Marland area, and one in the near north side, and then they'll have, again, a 3rd permanent location. They'll operate all 3 simultaneously and then pull the mobile units in and go to the, as it winds down, to the one fixed site. I don't make that decision, no. Hopefully,
yeah.
my goal is to push them so that by tonight in our town hall meeting, we'll be able to answer that for everybody.
So the mobile ones aren't actually out there yet either?
They are,
okay.
I believe they are in town.
But they're not like deployed?
Pardon? They're not staffed yet, they're
Right,
not
okay,
deployed.
okay.
But they're here,
Yeah.
they're just not.
So on the city function in terms of debris pickup and everything, how, sort of what one of the council members asked, how could people find out, okay, there are gonna be trucks in my neighborhood, I need to get my living room emptied out today and to the curb today?
As we said earlier today, we expect in the areas of heavy damage that we're gonna probably have to do at least 3 passes. And we're not writing tickets, we're not, that's not what this is about. We understand that not everybody can get their stuff out right away, but in order to keep our crews busy, because since we've mobilized our disaster contract, we're paying for those guys, we're trying to get a steady flow of material, and so we'll be moving the outside contractors around. So we'll have multiple passes. The goal is, but by the end of, certainly by the end of June, but within the next 2 weeks, we're going to try to get as much as possible. Those 3 passes within the next 2 weeks.
So people wondering, what sort of immediate deadline there would be, if I get these 3 rooms cleaned out into the curb by Tuesday, they'll pick it up. That's
well,
not
as
the
I
way it
said,
works.
that's one of the reasons I read where we're going to be picking up. But this is the junk waste month, citywide. So, and we're not, again, no one wants to look at a pile of trash, but get it out as rapidly as possible is the only answer I can give you. We will be making multiple passes, and then for the next 2 weeks, say, and then after that, we'll be responding to, if folks continue to bring it out, we're going to try to get it all caught up by the end of the month.
And just any updated numbers on affected structures or any sort of cost estimate of damage?
I don't have any cost estimates, and we're not going to be putting cost estimates out. We don't do that. FEMA may, but we don't do that. We continue to go door to door in the affected area. I think you were here with the interchange with Councilmember Martin. We are today in Kingwood. I know they've had it's been like 800 assessments. There's a process we have to go through, and it's not extensive or exhaustive, but check. We know here's the address. We know this property suffered some form of damage, and we continue to upload it. So that number is dynamic. I'll ask Janice to give you the number to date of properties that we have assessed and know. The map that we gave the council members, it was as of yesterday afternoon. I don't know if they had a number on it, but we had that. And it's continuously updated.
Mayor, I have a non-flooding question. I wanted to ask the Houston Police Department released some new homicide numbers today.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
So I've been in here.
January to April of 2014, 65 homicides. Same period this year, 95 homicides, up 46% same period this year versus last. I know you haven't seen the numbers, and obviously there's different scenarios. Do you have any just generic response to that increase?
Anytime there's an increase in violent crime, you want to drill down and try to figure out what the cause is. Nationwide, we have been in a period of historically low homicide rates, and what matters is who's being shot or killed by whom. So I'm gonna have to look. I truly have not been exposed to the data.
Many are not random, that's the thing, it's,
There are certain types of crimes that are very, very difficult, and that is family violence related. I happen to know that we've had 2 murder-suicides in the last, 2 weeks? And those are, while they're sad and tragic, they're not something that have anything to do with quality of policing. So I'm really gonna have to look at the data and see if this is, is it gang related? Is it domestic violence related? Is it the commission of some kind of other violent crime? I don't know.
thank you.
Mayor, back to flooding. So you created a disaster fund today. Can you just talk about the purpose and how it's going to work?
Yeah, it's just an accounting mechanism in order to because the whole state was examined and the governor put forward a number of counties as disaster areas, and Harris County and the Houston area was one of those. We qualify for federal disaster assistance, both for our individual citizens and as an entity, a separate entity, which is the city of Houston. And for example, implementing our debris removal contract, where we have dozens and dozens of private crews fanning across the city to pick up trash, we can, if we quantify it appropriately and keep the receipts, we can get reimbursed through FEMA. But they won't reimburse us for doing our normal heavy trash collection, and this happens to be our normal heavy trash collection month. And so this allows us to put all of that in one pile, completely segregated for FEMA, so it can be audited, and it assists us in reimbursements. That's all that is. We're not actually, we're paying for the contracts out of our general fund, and any reimbursements would go right back into the general fund.
And then one question on the Chronicle article yesterday. How concerned are you about the lobbyists that haven't registered?
I'm actually gonna. The last 10 days, it's been all flooding all the time. I'm about to go into a meeting with my senior staff to have that conversation. I didn't update the ordinance, and it wouldn't have been tightened without me pushing it. I didn't update it, so it could be ignored. But frankly, it is like many things. It is complaint driven, and if nobody makes a complaint, we're not going to devote a significant amount of tax resources in order to track down these lobbyists and see if they've registered. That's just not productive. We did it. It is designed to be a complaint-driven process. Those complaints can come from competitors. They can come from the public. They can come from council members. All you have to say is, hey, I know this person's lobbying. They're not registered, and the city attorney will follow up.
And there haven't been any complaints?
No, and which means that either people don't care or they're generally understand that the goal of the ordinance was to make sure that everybody knew if someone was being paid to represent. And my kind of personal theory is that if they're being paid to represent somebody, you ought to know it, or they're not earning their salary. But here's a call right now. If you know someone who is lobbying council members and they are not on the lobby list, send it to us. We will give them an opportunity to cure. We're not going to cite them immediately. If they don't cure it, I'm happy to find somebody. So, thank you.
Thanks, Frank.